Mike Tyson famously said one time, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And I can't help but notice that this is very similar to a mistake I made when it comes to the journey to success. And probably a mistake that many other people could make. It started when I was 14 years old and I realized how much you can truly accomplish in this life. Like, oh my god, you can one day become someone, you can one day change the fucking world. Like, wow, you can really. There's a lot to do in this world. There's a lot to explore and a lot to accomplish, a lot to innovate, a lot to get, and a lot to do, most of all. And after that, I made the huge mistake of indulging so much in the pleasure of me imagining what success could look like for me. Like, oh my god, I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna be super smart. I'm gonna be super good looking. I'm gonna have all these possessions. I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna be famous. You know, to put it simply, because of course it can always be more specific and complex than that. You can always make such a detailed fantasy that you make yourself believe that you even live in that, and you have a lot of dopamine when you do that. Put in simple terms, because dopamine doesn't work so in such simple ways. By dopamine I mean pleasure. And you get the thing is you get so much pleasure by imagining those things. And then when the pleasure goes off, when you stop imagining those things, because inevitably you have to work to get to where you want to be, then you have no energy, and because your dopamine baseline or your pleasure baseline is up here. You're always, your body and your mind are always expecting to be so entertained and so pleasured at all times. And when you're not, you're gonna feel like shit. So what I wanted to say with this is that while I was thinking about how I was gonna be, how everything was gonna work out, and how, I thought everything was gonna play out, I was also, of course, planning out how I would succeed in those things. And I think that that quote that Mike Tyson said can be perfectly coupled with the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect is basically when you start learning a little bit about something, and put quite simply, it is when you start learning about something, and after a little bit, you stop and you say, "Oh my God, come on, this is easy. Yeah, I understand this, and that." And you make some questions that are born out of ignorance, and you also make some conclusions that are born out of ignorance. If you learn just a little bit about physics, then you start, or a little bit about chemistry, or a little bit about math, but most of all, chemistry, physics, and things about science, you start thinking that, oh, so if this is this way, then this must be super easy. This must work this way that I'm imagining. No, it doesn't work that way, quite unfortunately. And if you keep going, then you will realize how wrong you were and how far off from expertise you were. But if you stop, then you're a fucking loser, and then you're a fucking idiot, because you're gonna just be there, being somebody that doesn't know shit about what they're talking about, thinking that you know a lot of shit, until somebody humbles you, or something humbles you, because you're not gonna. Because and if you're not humbled, is because you're not doing anything with that knowledge. But I'm not gonna get too deep into the Dunning-Kruger effect and what it can happen with it. The thing is that both the Mike Tyson quote and both the Dunning-Kruger effect have a role. They have a role in this phenomenon that happened to me. I thought that because I had studied a little bit about success, which is nothing, like there's nothing to study about success. You simply know that, okay, you work, you get results. That's it. The more you put in, the more you get out. And that is the most simple way to put it. Of course, it's more complex than that, but yeah. And the thing is, you start thinking that your plan is going to work out perfectly because you know a little bit about what makes you have results. Working hard, working smart, prioritizing yourself and your health, all that. And you think that the journey is going to be perfectly as you expect it to be, as if you were somebody that can predict the fucking future, which you can't. The only way you can really know, in which you can really know, how the journey will be is by embarking on it, by actually doing the things that will get you to where you want to be. And then you will know what it feels like. But it won't matter what it feels like. It will only matter what you do by then, because you will actually be in the journey, right? So, yeah. Spent too much time on that and never took action. Now I'm 17 and I'm still a loser. I'm not exceptionally good at anything. I've never really accomplished anything. I've never been consistent in anything. And this has been the consequence of the mistake I made. So at one point I have to learn from it if I want to become something else, and if I want my destiny not to be a fucking loser, if I don't want to stay in this country, stay in this house, and stay in this self, in this version. If I want something else, I have to do something else. I have to learn from it. Knowing fully that the more time you waste, the less of a chance you have of getting to where you want it to be. And that is simple logic. That is the most obvious thing that you, not the most obvious thing that there is, but that is one of the most obvious things that you should know as a human being who wants to accomplish things, as an ambitious person, as a person with conviction, or with some type of goal. Sorry, Jesus, I didn't even say the word right. So yeah, that's the thing. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. That's the quote. And everybody, not everybody, but some people, the ones that are really imaginative and really ambitious, but are not disciplined, like me. I have a plan of how things will play out until I do the slightest thing to get towards where I want to be. And then, who punches me in the face? Life. So don't make that mistake. I only have 36 subscribers now, so really nobody that needs to see this will see it. But, you know, it's a really good, not a really good, but it's somewhat an existing, you could say, summary of my journey, I guess. And if I succeed, or if I don't, I'll still look back at this video and say, damn, okay. And I can only say, damn, fuck yeah, if I accomplish something, but that is beyond the point. The thing is, that's what I've learned. That's what life has taught me.